Hello and welcome. Look, if you're caring for someone with ALS, you already know that every single day brings its own set of challenges. And one of the most physically and, let's be honest, emotionally demanding parts of that care is just movement. So today, we're going to dive deep into a really crucial topic: how to perform safe transfers.
So first off, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What is a transfer? Well, it's just the act of moving a person from one spot to another. You know, from a bed into a wheelchair, from that wheelchair to the toilet, or even just from a chair up to a standing position. It sounds so simple, right? But as ALS progresses, these everyday movements can become incredibly complex. This quote right here, it really gets to the heart of it. Transfers are not just about getting from point A to point B. They are high-stakes moments. They can feel stressful, they're definitely tiring, and if you don't have the right techniques, they are the #1 time when injuries happen, both for the person you're caring for and, just as importantly, for you.
To get this right, you need a solid foundation. So let's walk through 4 principles that should guide every single transfer you do. Seriously, think of these as the non-negotiable rules for safe and compassionate care.
First and foremost, safety. This is your #1 priority, and you have to trust your instincts. If you start a move and something in your gut just screams, "This doesn't feel right," you need to stop, period. It's not about powering through it. It's about recognizing the risk and finding a better, safer way.
Next up, dignity. Please remember, you're moving a person, not an object. And the simplest way to honor their dignity is through communication. Just explain what you're about to do before you do it. Move with a calm, steady confidence, not in a frantic rush. That reassurance makes a world of difference.
Third, let's talk about energy. Living with ALS requires a constant, careful management of a very limited energy supply. Every movement counts, so you've got to think like a chess player. Plan your moves ahead. Can you combine a couple of tasks? Can you avoid an extra unnecessary repositioning? Being efficient with transfers helps conserve that precious energy. And finally, the principle that caregivers forget most often: your body. Taking care of your physical health isn't selfish, it's absolutely essential. Because if you get injured, especially your back, the entire system of care you've worked so hard to build is at risk of collapsing. Protecting your body is protecting the whole care plan.
So, how do you protect your body? It really comes down to simple mechanics. You always bend at your hips and knees, never at your waist. Keep that back straight. Keep your core tight. And this one is huge. Never twist your body while you're lifting. Instead, pivot with your feet. Mastering this one difference is the key to avoiding an injury that could take you out of the game.
Of course, ALS changes over time. That means your transfer techniques have to evolve too. What works today might not be safe tomorrow. So let's break down the right method for the right time.
In the early to middle stages, when the person you're caring for can still bear some of their own weight and is able to follow your instructions, the stand pivot transfer is your go-to weapon. It's a foundational technique that really leverages whatever strength they still have.
And here's how it works. First, and this is non-negotiable, get the wheelchair in position and lock the wheels. Put on a gait belt for a secure grip. On the count of 3, you'll help them stand up using your legs, not your back. Then you both pivot together and you slowly lower them into the seat. It's all about smooth, controlled, and synchronized movement.
Now, as strength declines, you're going to reach a point where standing just isn't possible anymore, and that's okay. That's when the sliding board transfer becomes the right tool for the job. This technique literally bridges the gap between 2 surfaces, like from the bed to the wheelchair.
So to do this, you get the surfaces as close as possible, you place the board securely under their thigh, and then you guide them as they shift their weight across the board in small, little scooting motions. A key tip here is to be really mindful of their skin, because the friction can cause sores if you're not careful.
Finally, in the mid to late stages, when a person can't bear any weight at all, the mechanical lift, you might know it as a Hoyer lift, becomes the absolute gold standard. It is the safest, most effective, and honestly, the most dignified way to move someone with advanced ALS.
The process basically involves getting a sling underneath them and attaching it securely to the lift. Your job totally changes here. You go from being the lifter to being the guide. You communicate, you make sure everything is stable and secure, and you let the machine take all the strain.
And this brings us to a really important point. Getting equipment is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of intelligence. You need to think of these tools as your allies. They are designed to make every single transfer safer, easier, and a lot less stressful for everyone involved.
So your essential toolkit is going to evolve, but it'll often include things like a gait belt for a secure hold, that transfer board we talked about, and of course, a mechanical lift with the right kind of sling. And things like an adjustable hospital bed and special transfer sheets can also make a massive difference in your day-to-day.
This is probably the single most important question that caregivers face when it comes to equipment. When do you make that leap to a mechanical lift? Is it when you feel like you absolutely can't manage anymore? Is it after you've had a scare or a near miss or even an injury?
The answer is simple, and it is urgent, sooner than you think. The single biggest mistake caregivers make is waiting too long to get a mechanical lift. The moment transfers become a consistent strain or they feel even a little bit unsafe, that is the time to transition. Do not wait for a crisis.
And this whole idea leads us right into our final and I think most important takeaway. It's about a huge shift in your mindset, from relying on your own physical strength to relying on a well-designed system. This right here is the core message. The best, most sustainable care doesn't come from being the strongest person in the room. It comes from having the best system, using the right equipment, and having a solid plan for every single move. This is the mental shift we're talking about. You have to move away from that mindset of, I've got this, I can handle it, and move toward a collaborative, systematic approach that says, we have a safe, repeatable way to do this every single time. And why does this shift matter so much? Because that new mindset protects everything that's important. It protects your body, it protects their dignity, and it protects the very sustainability of the care you can provide for the long haul. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a look at your daily routine, your equipment, your techniques. What is one small part of your transfer system that you can make safer, smarter, or more consistent starting today? Because those small improvements in your system can make the biggest difference of all.